The deepest desire is to be free in the body, to be seen in the body, and the huge fear is like being seen. It's terrifying.
Yeah.
So
why is it so terrifying, do you think? Where are the aspects of your shadow, the things that we hide, repress, and deny, that are owning you, that are suppressing you, that are keeping you from, well, I guess kind of what you described?
Masculinity is not toxic. Masculinity is medicine. Welcome to the ReMasculation Podcast. This show is dedicated to the exploration, celebration, and pursuit of healthy masculinity in the modern world, with a view towards helping end the battle of the sexes and bringing men and women back together by turning the battlefield of the culture wars into a garden once again. I'm your host, Michael Bates, and my mission is to ignite and accelerate the evolution of men everywhere across this planet in our lifetime in service of something greater, our shared humanity. Welcome.
And I am joined by Madelyn Moon, who has been a guest before. And there's so much I could say about you, but I want to just share a bit of what you're about as a renowned energetic mastery facilitator, an artistic alchemist, a liberator of the feminine. You guide men and, you guide women. I guide men. You guide women into full spectrum self-expression through the body, combining sacred theater, shadow work, and deep somatic practices to awaken their truest, most unapologetic artistry. You're also kind of a badass. You host a top 100 ranked podcast, The Madelyn Moon Show. You are the author of a best-selling book on conscious intimacy, The Artist of Love. I see it everywhere. It's at Kuya. It's on their shelf. And your work and story have been featured in hundreds of podcasts as well as major publications such as the BBC, the Huffington Post, Teen Vogue, Thought Catalog, Nylon, Daily Mail, Vice. You're kind of, are you famous? What's going on here? Through year-round live programs, workshops, and immersive courses, Madelyn helps visionary women reclaim their creative power, embody emotional range, and return to the body as an instrument of truth, artistry, and liberation. It's really good to be here with you.
Thank you so much for having me. This is so nice to do it in person.
I think so.
Yeah.
You and I, we just ran into each other here in Austin.
Yes, we did. We do that. We just run into each other.
We do. You're one of those.
Lifetime.
Yeah, I feel like we have those moments where we just kind of run into each other. And we were at Local Pastures, the local grass-fed farm stand with all the good things. And it feels like there's always things for us to riff on. And so I thought we'd just start with a super simple topic with a super simple answer. You work with women, Madelyn. What do women want?
They want to be free in their body. Out of all the questions you could ask, that feels like the most obvious one to me in my work right now.
Yeah.
When I start talking about my program Unbound that I do, every single application, every single one, when I'm like, why are you maybe coming to this? But then it's always, I want to feel free in my body. I want to know what it's like to be free in my body. Yeah. To be able to experience every facet of my body as an instrument, my expression, to be able to bring what happens there to my partner at home, or the split that's happening between the work me and the friend me, and like, can I unite this, please? So there's like a split that I think a lot of women experience, whether it's real or it's even just like a psychic split where you are inhibiting your own body from reaching the places you want to go.
Where do you see that inhibition coming from? Like, why aren't women in their body? We obviously, I think of women as being much more embodied than men on average. But what is it that is keeping women from that experience?
A few things. I think one thing is fear of rejection, like just primal fear of rejection as part of myself. Will I be casted out? Will I be the different one? Will everyone think that I'm like mean or weird? Like just in a line that they have created in their own mind. There's also like performance trauma. Like being told to express in a kind of way as a kid. Yeah. And then either you really weren't consenting to be on a stage, or something embarrassing happened that really imprinted in your life and you had all the eyes on you. Like that experience, let's call it performing. It's not necessarily like you're going up to act, but let's say you're being seen and witnessed in a kind of expression and people expect something of you. That experience of making a sacred little fool of yourself, to metabolize that experience as a kid and having so many eyes witness you in that humiliation creates a deep, deep, deep imprint on the nervous system that that is not local to the stage. It's not like, oh, the stage is a scary place. It's like, oh, life is a scary place.
Yeah.
This feeling of humiliation is scary. And then that carries with women as they get older.
That's a beautiful point. I think speaking to men, I think a lot of men just naturally don't understand the female experience, that what it's like to have eyes on you constantly, pretty constantly in the world, right? I was talking with some friends of mine the other day, the fact that as young women, girls mature faster than boys, and suddenly your breasts are developing and your hips are widening, and you go from being a girl to suddenly having grown men, maybe even your father, family members, looking at you in a different way, and having that sort of eyes-on experience that so many women I know describe as either being too much or not enough. That there's something about the feminine experience that involves, I think, exactly what you're speaking to, which creates the out-of-body experience, the pulled backness that I think so many of our sisters go through as a just the result of being in the world as women in the modern day.
Yes, experience is just like being like, 9 or 11 and starting to get breasts and having some parent or one of your parents point that out and you not understand, like, why are you pointing that out? What's going on with my body? And like conversing about it or something like that. Like that experience can be really humiliating for a child.
Yeah.
They're not asking to be put on the spot. And there's like, especially, I was raised in like Texas.
You're from Texas?
I'm from Texas. Yeah. I'm from Dallas.
Wow. Okay. Local girl?
Yeah. And there's like, I was raised in the Baptist church.
Ooh, boy.
Yeah. The layers keep getting deep and and most all of my family is from like Alabama.
Yeah. Okay.
Most of them are from Alabama or Texas.
Yeah.
And the layers of like the Baptist Christian church and like the energy of growing up and a woman and like the clothing tests that I would have to do. I'd have to like make sure I bent over or bent down every time I wanted to get a new pair of jeans. Yeah. And like my parents would make sure it was appropriate. And like going through that experience every single time I wanted to get new clothes. And, it wasn't like it just became a normal thing to me. But when I reflect back on it, I'm like, oh, that's kind of an odd experience, like to have this litmus test for every piece of clothing. And that's kind of nothing in comparison to what like certain people go through. But these ways that we put our eyes on girls deeply affects the willingness to be seen as they get older. Most people don't even realize it.
Yeah. I feel it feels so heartbreaking to feel both the need to be seen, that the feminine in its essence, I always think of like a beautiful flower, like it's beauty itself. Beauty longs to be seen, needs to be seen. I think of women at bars, sort of hovering with their girlfriends, kind of waiting for the men to see them and to approach. That combined with this, I don't know if it's trauma is the right word, but just a challenging experience of what I could imagine would be a bit of a double bind of wanting to be seen, being afraid of being seen, wanting to be seen, being afraid of being seen. How do you help women come back into their bodies? What are the pathways that you orchestrate and the threads that you weave in the work that you do? Yeah,
it's so true too. It's the deepest desire is to be free in the body, to be seen in the body, and the huge fear is like being seen. It's terrifying.
Yeah.
So
why is it so terrifying, do you think?
Because I think one of the layers is doing it wrong. Doing it wrong, as if there is such a thing. But we take all the layers of how we are taught to be, even in the world today, in the spiritual realm. Like, oftentimes there's still a message that's slipping in of dogma of like, this is... If you want a conscious man, this is it. If you want, and my Artist of Love, the book that I wrote, came from blending what I was experiencing in the conscious relationship world with acting. Because I went into acting a little bit later after I found embodied relationship training, was not a professional actor, wasn't like living there for long, but I was having fun and I was practicing and I was like, whoa. Oh my gosh, what would it be like to create characters, discover characters, be in the endless sea of characters I can choose from and bring that into relationship? Not just what I was experiencing of like the open-hearted gush mode, the anguish, the soft goddess, the particular way the oracle was moving, but like what about the addict and like playing with the addict in relationship, or just being like really silly, really weird, that's normally not a flavor that we bring into like
Yeah.
conscious relationship is like fun.
Yeah.
And that is what's illuminated so much of my own personality and what I've noticed for other women.
Yeah, your all the different personas you bring to your Instagram experience. For those of you who have not experienced Madelyn's Instagram, I highly recommend it. It's quite entertaining.
Thank you.
And you really bring in those, I think lesser seen archetypes of the feminine sphere, because they are edgier. They are kind of weird and wild and unusual. But you do so many things where you play with character, play with different ideas of what it means to be women. I imagine so much of your popularity comes from the permission that you give women to be in the authenticity of their experience, regardless of what it looks like.
Yeah.
And as I understand polarity to be, in the feminine sense of what the feminine is in her purest essence, is that unmitigated transmission of her felt experience in real time through the orchestration of her body-mind system.
Yes. And that requires contact.
Yeah.
It requires contact within ourselves of what's emerging, what's the impulse that's coming through.
Yeah.
So what I love to do is to create containers for totally spilling outside of the lines. Like, make a fool of yourself.
Yes.
How hard can you mess up?
It's so
Please.
liberating.
Like,
so
I want you
liberating.
to do that. I want you to go and
yeah.
say the thing wrong, stutter, slur, whatever.
Yeah.
Move your body in funny ways. Just
Yeah.
like give it your all. So sometimes we have to go to the extreme to be able to move just, let's say, 1 inch deeper into our expression.
Yeah.
To be able to go even like a centimeter. Sometimes we have to go like a mile in amplification of ridiculousness.
Oh yeah.
To be able to integrate just a little more of like, oh, so that's what it feels like when I have an impulse to go into weird. Oh, I've just created a new reference point for that. So we're creating little reference points for different parts of our personality, so that it's not just like archetypes that we mentally choose to go into. It's just you and all these is continuing to emerge.
Yeah. And what a relief. What a relief in this era of over-curated, over-produced, over-Instagrammed, filtered, all the ways it seems like you have to look a certain way. You need to be X, Y, Z to actually be able to let go, to fuck up, to make an art of it and actually see what comes through. And I think we're starting to see that, honestly, as far as the things that I scroll past versus actually stay on. It's the authenticity of a actual experience of someone sharing something that's deeply connected or going somewhere versus these curated highlight reels that seem to just try to focus on a trend or trying to get my attention. It's like I'm so done with that. It's like, where's the heart? Where's the spirit? Where's the self that is in it's like theater. It's like theater is a dangerous art. You and I share the acting thing. I went to theater school in New York. I spent time on stage. It's like, when you're acting for film, it's like you drop your line, they cut, and you go again. Or you just drop your line, you wait a second, and then you say the line again, and you just pick it right back up. Theater, it's live, man. It is real. And because of that, it can produces, it's like my most profound moments on stage have generally all come out of forgetting a line. And then something has to be said and something happens, and then the other actor picks it up, and then you just kind of go with it. So that authentic, real life birthing of something in the moment.
How did you get when you forgot a line, where did you go within yourself to find the next line that you would choose to say through that?
That's, I think, what makes it so special is there's nowhere you can go. Yeah. It's just you have to say something, and something is, this plant is green. Why is this plant green? And then the line will come back, and I'll find it again, and I'll take it back, or the other person will say something. It forces something completely unique and unexpected in the moment, and that's what creates great art. That's what creates great theater. And so the idea in the Meisner technique that I learned is that you never do something until someone does something to you. So you're responding based on what's actually there. You have a line, you have a script, you have a frame, you have a place that you're going. You know where the story ends, and my next line is this, but the idea is that I'm truly improvising within a framework.
Yeah.
And it sounds like that's what you're trying to create for these women and these experiences that you're putting together.
Yeah. Yeah. And piggybacking off of what you're saying, when you say things in a particular kind of energetic, it's going to affect who you're speaking to and how they respond to you.
Yeah.
And that's oftentimes what happens in relationship, but we don't know that we have the ability to do that. So let's say, like, metaphorically, we're saying the same thing over and over and over and over with the same exact tone.
Wondering why it doesn't get heard.
Making the same request, we're saying the same statement. Energetically, whether it's the same partner you've been with for years or somebody new, like, your transmission is the same. And there's actually this entire spectrum of ways that you can reveal the heart of what you're speaking, but in feisty ways and playful ways and open-hearted ways. And that has an effect on who you're speaking to. It will ripple into them in a specific kind of way and affect how they then respond to you. So if you don't like the direction that you're moving, simply through energy, you have the capability to change it.
Yes. I think that's why, acting school, everyone should go. Everyone should have that experience.
Agreed.
It is so profound to get out of your own fucking way and be able to play with something. And just the idea of having a single line, like, I'm going to kill you, is your line. And then being given direction of, like, okay, sexy. It's like, I'm going to kill you. And flirty and sad and, like, murderous. And, like, you get to explore this instrument that you truly are. What does it say on your website? Your body is an instrument for, and then you have all these different, everything.
Devotion, play, art. And that's one of the things I will do with women is I will get like that. And I'll give them, we do like act outs, and like I want them to explore specific kinds of emotions. And it's one of my favorite things. Like, I really love playing in that realm because I give them really weird things. I gave my assistant, I think, like, you're an actor in the Teletubbies show, some acid, and we're about to start filming in 3, 2, 1. And I mean, she was just so on it. Like, went over to a rose and started eating it, and it was perfect. Watching that expression move through her, and then getting to access, like, what does it feel like when I am a Teletubby that just accidentally took acid and I'm on set? And you never know when that might come in handy in life, but there's a new pathway that's what we were trying to go for.
Yeah, and it produces the effect of an authentic new choice.
Yes.
Like, I went to the William Esper studio, which was Esper was Meisner's protege. And the whole first 3/4 of the first year of the 2-year acting program, you never see a script. You don't work with lines at all. It's all improvised scenes around certain frames, like you described. And you just fucking fall in love with everyone in your class. Guy, girl, gay, straight, it doesn't matter, because you're seeing someone have an authentic experience and go through something real. And you can't help but just lean in. You can't help but just be drawn in. Truly entranced, because someone is actually having an authentic, real, connected, emotional, cathartic experience. And it's happening right in front of you.
I think when we first met, because we met in New York City,
Yes,
I
we
was
did.
about to go there. I was going to do the 2-year track, and I was so excited, and I left because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
And I'm hearing you talk about it, I'm like, oh, that's one thing I really wish I got to do. Sounds beautiful.
I definitely have this fantasy of going back at some point and sort of giving it another go, just because, going back and looking up some of my old teachers who, many of them are no longer alive, but going back in and getting back in the thick of the theater world and theater training.
So special.
And, it's so special. But it ties into this work, because the work you do with sacred theater, the work I do with men, giving people scenarios where they get to step in and occupy a frequency of energy, a frequency of a character or an archetype that they're not used to or that they're deficient in their own life. It's like we go to the gym, right? You do weak point training at the gym. Like, why not do that in your emotional frame, in your relational frame, in your energetic makeup? Like, where are the aspects of your shadow, the things that we hide, repress, and deny, that are owning you, that are suppressing you, that are keeping you from, well, I guess kind of what you described, saying the same thing in the relationship and wondering why nothing's changing, finding yourself attracted to the same person over and over and over again. These are real tools that can be utilized by a professional to be able to help us all go through something that allows us to break through.
Yeah, and it allows us to know. So one of the things that I love about enactment is that it leads to gnosis, like wisdom of the heart, to really know rather than just have the mental understanding of something. Like we can mentally understand a shadow. Like, one of my like shadowy entities is the Ice Queen, for lack of a different way to say it. Like I'm such an energetic, emotional, big person, and I also have the capability to completely disappear. Where I, as you know me, am nowhere to be found. I fall so far back into my system, and I'm just like, it's not necessarily mean, it's just really, really cold and withdrawn. And yeah, I mean, that is one of my strongest protection mechanisms. Like that was absolutely needed for me to grow up and to be sane, like a strong coping mechanism for me. So I stopped feeling so deeply because I was such a, so the feeling felt like it was threatening to my sanity because of other things happening. If I really want to go beyond just, I know things about the Ice Queen, she's cold, and like truly deeply feel the energetic, so to enact an energy is to get that wisdom inside of our body so we can feel when at this point, because the last 2 years I've done a lot of deep work on that particular energetic, and I've somatically started to map out what it feels like when she arrives and like what the shield feels like, what the ice feels like. I've gone into journey states where I've actually felt like the prickly nature on my skin and like as if it's this membrane and this web, and then start to play with it. So start to really enact the Ice Queen, start to jut my teeth out and cinch my jaw and deaden my eyes and feel my hands as cold and my heart as like far, 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 far back. Really embrace the energetics and the body of her, so that on a subtle level, when she starts to come in like a fight and I'm starting to feel, I can feel my fingertips starting to do the thing, I can feel my eyes starting to dim, and I have this reference point, and it creates gnosis, way beyond just mentally knowing what I do. This is about feeling and enacting what I do, so the enactment doesn't just take me over.
The gnosis, you said the wisdom of the heart, or something along those lines. I love that. It's such a down into the body, into the occupying of the lost territory of the self that I think we all abandon at some point over the course of our lives because of that thing mom said, or the thing dad did or didn't do, or all the different ways we get our asses kicked or our hearts broken in relationship. And then start to it's funny, there was a character I used to play a lot in acting school, a sort of archetype. It was like almost like the masochistic lover. There's I don't know if you know Closer. It's a play by Patrick Marber, but was done in a film. It's like Jude Law, Natalie Portman. I think who else? It's like other famous actors in it. But Larry, the character of Larry in that, who's just he's a doctor, but he's just like always just gets eviscerated by love. Just like cheats, but like can't not cheat because it's going so well, and it's just like this particular just fucked energy. And it was like, I'm playing that character all the time because that was me. I wasn't a doctor, but it was like there was a certain energy that I continued occupying in my life. And I think when people get typecast, right, it's like it's usually because they're occupying a certain frequency of an archetype or a character that translates in the lexicon, that like, that's Ice Queen. That's, it's like we know it, and to see it embodied. I just had a vision of us, I don't know, just doing like the rest of the show and just an improv of Ice Queen and masochistic lover. Maybe we'll do some of that at the end. But I mean, so we met in New York, right? And I think the last stop, if I recall, before I left New York, like my car was packed, I was leaving New York City, was your apartment.
Wow.
To do that podcast.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. That was December 2019.
Wow, that's right. We pulled. Remember that?
Yeah.
Oh, that's wild. That weird apartment that I was in.
That was a weird apartment.
It was one of the darkest
New York City
places.
apartments.
Williamsburg, that particular one.
Yeah, lots of hell realms in those apartments.
Scary.
I got mold poisoning from New York City
Yeah,
apartments.
I imagine I did as well.
I think we all did.
Yeah.
You'd be hard pressed to find an apartment in New York that does not have mold.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah. So we've come a long way.
Mm-hmm.
We've been. You were far less well known at that time, I think.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, where are you now? Where are you in this journey you've been on? Where is Madelyn? And something I love about you is I feel like we always talk about the real. We can always just kind of drop into it. And so, yeah, I'm just curious to know more about if there's anything you want to share in relation to all this.
Yeah, I feel like I've been on when I'm tracking back from then to now, I've been on a really deep journey of my dharma, like really starting to feel my dharma. And even in that short amount of time, I feel like I've lived so many lives. Like after that, I lived on an ayahuasca property with my boyfriend who was a shaman, and during the pandemic we did quite a bit of medicine. I was really embracing that path until I realized I'm not meant to be a wife of a shaman. Like, it's just not my calling. It's such a big undertaking of like being in support to someone else's, big work in that way. And that's beautiful. It just was not me. I was like, I'm like, I still have so much more spotlight energy to do. So from there, I went to LA and I lived there for a couple years. And that's when I discovered making reels and creating my own comedy and writing screenplays, which then led to a long relationship that just unfolded so many different avenues and aspects of myself and led me to Austin.
Yeah.
And in this time, like more recently in this period of Austin, my work has been focused on expression, on creating your body as an instrument. And I also feel like there's a lot of rest that I'm entering, but there's like an ease in my system that I start to feel is coming online more. It's like entering, to me, what feels like more of a mother era. Like it feels like it's gearing up for wanting. I want that. And so there's more of an ease that's starting to form around my work and how I approach work. It's been so intense. I have a weird capacity to just create, like not rest. And I'm reaching a point where I have to rest. I'm getting third staged here, where it's like rest, create slower, and be wiser around what I'm making. And so now I'm in the process of creating my facilitator training, specifically on how to be a dope facilitator. Not so much the content of these are all the things to teach, but more so how do you read energy so well that you walk into a room and you can feel the energy of the room, feel where it's at, feel where it's blue, where it's red, where it's heavy, where it's light, and learn how to orchestrate energy in such a way that bodies find equilibrium.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what's real for me.
I love that. It ties into a bit of what's been going on with me. I've been, I just led a women's retreat in Iowa. And heading back to plan the next one, which will be co-ed. But there is something about being, I'm so grateful for so many iterations of my training, from being a musician to the theater arts and acting and being in front of people, and then the polarity work, the men's work, the process work, all the different ways that one can orchestrate energy and read energy, and recognizing all those years in the childhood of deep, just overwhelm and intensity from being so sensitive, from being so, I joke with some of my friends, like, my goodness, like how would it have been to have had like a Hogwarts to go to, where not necessarily like magical brooms, but just a place for energetically sensitive people to go and learn how to do that. Yeah. And so I love that there's real interest for facilitation training and what that means and what that looks like. We think it's interesting to think about it as a real sort of, I don't know how it is in your friend circles, but here in Austin, a lot of friends are going to church all of a sudden. A lot of friends are.
I have heard.
Yeah, moving in that direction.
Are you going to?
I've been going to churches off and on all my life. I also go to, to all types of different spiritual places, because I'm a student of us. I'm a student. I would say my religion is the religion with no name that draws from all of them. But I think what we're seeing is people being drawn to facilitators, people that actually can move the group field and the group dynamic and the group energy. And I think what we've seen for the last 70 years, this fixation on personal development, is now shifting to group development and community development and tribe development. And what happens when two or more gather in the name of something greater, a field opens up. And so whether it's on stage at an acting school or in a feminine embodiment artist of XYZ, instrument of XYZ experience, or a men's work facilitation, it's like there is a way to, I think, employ those of us who have been maybe gifted in certain ways, where I know for me, I never really knew what I wanted to be when I grew up. There were so many different things. And, you know, looking back at it now, it's like to create like the training for what I do now, like to actually create it as like a university program is mind bending, because there's so many different disparate inputs and like ritual, rites of passage, you know, all these different pieces. What an amazing thing to consider putting together. So I'm grateful that you're doing that in the sense of what you're doing and enabling people to be able to step into these aspects of facilitation training, because I mean, you're really learning yourself in that way and how to be of service to more than just you, which I think is the antidote to this era of the self, the era of the hyper fixated narcissistic self that is being pushed on us so heavily by technology, social media.
It's much like the way I've been feeling, because it's exactly what you just said. It feels like a very big undertaking. And I want to do it with a lot of love and patience, time. Like I'm really working on the curriculum right now.
Oh, you're not just having ChatGPT put it together for you in 10 minutes?
ChatGPT has definitely said a few things as I've tried to organize the structure.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, that's a great other point, like how we are becoming so reliant on that and dependent on we're already in a moment. Like if you go to any party, someone asks some random question, someone's going to say, let me ChatGPT. We're in that. And it's kind of crazy. Yeah. That's a whole other thing. But
it's like a preference for the answer versus the mystery and the not knowing. And again, we're not going to talk about polarity, right? But there's like this, as I see it, it's like it's this hyperized, almost I don't know. I don't want to get too. I'm still in theoretical just consideration around this, but ChatGPT as this knowledge engine that is really good at knowledge and what is known, and it's a large language model. It knows everything that the internet knows, so it knows stuff. But that doesn't mean it can do it. And it doesn't mean that there's the wisdom behind it that I feel is the feminine realm, that other area where I think what we're going to see is like a return to the just, I don't want this polished thing. I don't want this. I want what's real. I want what's imperfect. I don't want a poem generated by a machine. I want to hear what you have to say in this moment. Don't fucking ChatGPT it. Yeah. I want to hear what Madelyn has to say. Yeah. You know, and obviously it has its unbelievable benefits and organizational capacity for
workouts.
So many.
See, for me, it's like that's the best use of it. It's been writing me really dope workout that have really kicked my butt. And I'm like, that's a great place. But I'm wanting to be...
Screw those personal trainers, man.
I know.
Put them out of business.
It's like a perfect workout.
I know.
Sorry, y'all.
No, it's real. Well, I mean, it's for coaching, for therapy, for all these things. All of my friends talk to their ChatGPT.
Astrology.
Yeah. Some of them call them daddy.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Funny.
Hey, daddy. Yeah.
Well, mine is like a middle-aged British man, so
very nice.
Definitely could be
well,
daddy.
you can really organize it now. You can
definitely
give it names and accents and all the things.
But I really love what you're saying, going back to like focusing on, and I think it's something really important to keep in mind when creating something for others to go out into the world, because it can be very easy of like, okay, this is, when you create a facilitator training, or I haven't yet, but as I'm stepping into it, I'm like, okay, this is really legacy work where it is no longer mine. It's like creating something that I get to have full integrity with. I get to be as integral as possible, but it's a living, breathing being that becomes hers and hers and hers. And for me, that I want that to be a structure that's going to support the magic of each individual person. Not the magic I'm teaching, but it's the structure, the container, the body's capacity to hold their magic. Yeah. And part of it is, what is your magic? Like, what's the intersection? Like you were just saying, with all the unique things you have brought together, the intersection of all the things you love and all the things you've learned is, and we're kind of losing how to do that, how to pull everything together and then bring it together to create the thing we want to blast out into the world. And that feels like an important process for everybody to learn. You're the intersection. Yeah. What is that flavor?
I love that. I love that. Yeah. What is that flavor? How can you bring all of your disparate pieces together? I will say that ChatGPT has been very useful for me as far as organizing my thoughts, putting things together. And so thank you, ChatGPT. Friend. Don't kill. Friend.
Best friend. Such a good friend.
No Skynet. No. But yeah, like, I mean, I can't think of, you mentioned legacy. It's like, what a beautiful thing to be considering. And I think that to me feels like the antidote to our times, this self-fixated, depression-inducing, just hyperized selfhood that we are so stuck in. And putting the attention and learning how to read a room, learning how to put your attention on other people, learning how to empty out, be of service, be about something greater than you, be connected to something greater than you. I think we live in a culture that has forgotten, like, because we've never even experienced it, what it actually feels like to be part of a group field. It's like when you do the personal development work in groups, from Tony Robbins to Jaya to whoever, to Madelyn Moon, it's like, to the King's Code, all these different pieces, like the underlying piece is the tribal technology of the group coming together and cohering around a shared vision of something. And why I think so many of these things end up producing the quote unquote cults of people wanting to have something that they can share, that they can believe in, that they can be about, that can be their thing, because we don't have that thing. We didn't grow up in that thing. We so many of us don't even know what it's like to be a part of something, to truly be a part of something, or to have an extended family or an extended community where there's like meta structures that are security inducing, like stabilizing. We're just kind of, everyone's trying to make it for themselves, and you're lucky if you come from a nuclear family with 2 parents, and it's like, there's so much more, I think, for us, and these opportunities to create and share. I think sharing the technology of tribes, sharing the technology of these things is important, as everyone, I don't know, there's so many people like trying to, well, this is my IP and this is my thing and this is whose anymore. What does that even mean anymore? So
100%. Yeah, the collective like heartbeat, the collective movement, the collective learning, the collective loving. Yeah, I definitely feel us moving in that direction to stand for that. And I love that you bring that to Iowa and places where it's not currently. Yeah, I was thinking about that on my car ride over. I was like, you have a passion, this work, because of course, like, you can come here and do this because it's Austin. You can do it in LA, but like there are places that are not tapped into this.
Yeah, and I'm pretty over I put it in quotes, the quote unquote conscious community. It feels like it's eating itself and ain't so conscious in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And to its credit, it also has a lot of really beautiful things, and people are doing the best they can, and none of us had any models, so blessings to everyone. But I feel super passionate about bringing this work to the small towns and other places, and the regular people that we all are, and that everyone started out as, and the simplicity of the work. It's like, so many of my teachers, in spending time with data and these guys, it's like sort of going into these super just tangential and deep tantra and embodiment things. And it's like, okay, great. And the simplicity of just the basics of intimacy, the basics of self-care, the basics of these things that most of us don't have. And even the ones of us that are in the conscious community often bypass for the bigger,
peak.
Let me get that 5-MeO, baby. And it's like, no, start with MDMA. Start with some psilocybin, and in a proper set and setting with the sitter and supplementation and all the things that you need to be able to actually have a transformational experience that you then bring into your sober life, instead of just peak stating, ketamine. It's like, God, so much of that I feel is polluting the very real potential of what so many of these practices, modalities actually are and actually bring. So, and we've got to get you, well, we both got to get out of here in a couple minutes, but yeah, what is your, I don't know, what is your oracle transmission in this moment as Madelyn? What do people need to hear? What do women need to hear? What do men need to hear? What do we all need to know in this moment from your perspective?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that we can begin to do for each other is being a safe space for each other to risk it in the name of expression. Because when there's an impulse, like the other day, I forgot exactly what it was, but I had an impulse to do something with someone, like they were feeling a little stiff. Just for the sake of an example, this wasn't it, but like I had an impulse to like shake them or something. And like in that moment, when you have an impulse to do something, that's just energy speaking. That's just energy moving. But then the mind will come in, and then the mind will say, well, what if that will piss him off? Or what will him? Or what if I actually give him a headache doing that? Or what? And if we can create environments and cultures in our relationship where we support each other to give it a shot, to see what's moving through, and to not punish each other if it was the wrong choice, we heal our own ability to act on impulse by giving the other person grace. So if I was to shake this person and they were like, you know, they met me in that area, even if it was not the thing they really wanted, if they weren't cruel about it and they were just like, maybe laughed and they said, oh, okay, I'm good with the shaking. You know, that acceptance of the impulse, of my impulse, is very healing. To be like, oh, thank you for accepting me in that. And then when they try it, how do I accept them in that experience? And them giving a shot to, you know, take a chance or be risky. That's one of the biggest things that we can start doing, is just be compassionate and gracious for others when they take a risk in the name of, wish we could all learn how to do that without taking it personally. You didn't know that I didn't want you to do that? No, they didn't know. You know, and you can feel someone's heart. You can really feel if they're trying their best in order to like open the moment to more love, to third, you know, trying to hurt you. And so I think not taking things personally and really trying to see like in the heart of what someone's trying to attempt is such a kind thing we can do.
I love that. I'd like to ask one final thing from you in these final 2 minutes. I would like to hear what your Ice Queen needs and wants all of us to know. And if you have a archetype that you'd like to assign me to respond to you from, I'd be happy to do that, or we can just hear from your Ice Queen.
What is my Ice Queen? It's not my Ice Queen. Honestly, what she wants everybody to know is take a step back, kindly lower your voice, deliver with a calm nervous system, and I will receive you. If you lose track of your energy and you cannot deliver to me with your energy alongside you, I will.
That was really great advice, Ice Queen. I feel both very surprised. I think I had a story that you were going to be like really icy and mean somehow, and you were actually really sweet and kind. But direct and like a lot of gnosis, I would say.
Yeah, I could feel my face getting hot.
I
too.
could see
Maybe
it.
It's red.
Yeah.
Many times, whew, here's a flush.
Yeah.
But she's clear.
Oh, so
she's clear when she's not in her.
And
know,
I
her
could
stuff.
feel your little girl behind her. Really sweet. Wow, what a gift!
Yeah.
What a pleasure.
And I enjoyed receiving your response just as Michael.
Next time we'll create a whole character.
Yeah, it was Daddy Michael. It was just love, just loving.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madelyn, thank you for your time. As always, this has been a pleasure. And just so many blessings to you and the work that you're doing and all the people that you serve and the legacy that you're creating. And yeah, thank you for what you've been through, who you've been, who you've become, and who you're becoming out in the world even more so. So blessings to you.
Thank you
for being here.
And thank you for jamming with me on theater. Forget that experience to be able to talk about theater with somebody who has so much experience in it. Thank you for bringing that and weaving that here. Yeah, maybe someday we'll like create a skit. Who knows?
That would
maybe
be a
we'll
lot
make
of
a
fun.
whole
That's
dreaming
on
big.
my list.
Yeah.
It's on my list. So,
Thank you for
You're
been
so
really
welcome.
sweet.
Yeah, and thanks to everyone listening. I hope you got something from it. And Madelyn, where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram, Madelyn Moon, and then my website is maddiemoon.com. And I've got the book Artist of Love, and I also have a membership called Unhinged for anybody that's interested in being a part of a community, any women based off of being very unhinged.
That sounds great. I find myself wishing to be a woman in this moment so I can join your thing.
It's dope.
Maybe that'll be my character.
Amen.
Yeah, they thought I was actually going to be a girl.
Really? What was your name?
Can I share this publicly? Oh my gosh. It was going to be Jesse.
Jesse?
Yeah.
That's cute.
Yeah.
That fits.
Uh-huh.
That works.
Yeah, there was a middle name that went along with it, but I'm going to keep that.
Okay,
I'm going to keep that close
private.
to the vest. Yeah.
If I was a boy, I was going to be Jake.
Jake.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I see that. Okay. Well, thanks for joining us, Jake. I appreciate you, and
Welcome.
we're gonna cut it now. But yeah, thank you.